millennia than humans have ever lived on the earth. 1 trillion. They're a handful. Imagine in the forest, right? Thousands of protozoans, thousands of nematodes, millions of all sorts of insects, and just a handful. And all they're doing is this. Magic mojo. They're taking the surface litter, breaking it up, decomposing, digesting, pooping, digesting, pooping, digesting, pooping, digesting, pooping. It's like putting the whole forest into a blender. The juice you get out, that's the good stuff. All of these organisms are making all of those nutrients that keep that topsoil viable for life. I really want you to write magic mojo in your notes. I'm not kidding. Whatever you want to call it, even if you don't call it magic mojo, remember that something is happening and someone is doing it. If my organic material gets hit by microwave radiation enough to sterilize it, nothing will grow in that dirt. Let me say that again. If I take good dirt, put it in the microwave, it will not grow plants. Because the point is, the dirt is just stuff. But to make it biologically useful requires a whole entire soil food web. To go from stuff that was alive yesterday to stuff that can live tomorrow. Don't forget this critical ingredient of soil. There is magic mojo, nutrient cycling. Decomposition, digestion, pooping, decomposition, digestion, pooping ad nauseum. Everybody gets the parts, I know. But there's something that happens in those parts that you also have to remember, the mojo. Number 18, contour plowing and no-till agriculture. Do you guys understand how those work? Number 18, contour plowing and no-till. Okay. What do those prevent? Erosion or desertification? Very good. Anybody know other ways to prevent erosion? I'm just looking at my trusty, handy number 33, which is basically this whole unit. How do we prevent erosion? Windbreaks, those are called strip planting or alley cropping. What else? Cover crop, so that you don't leave the soil nude.
Terracing if you have a hill.
Terracing if you're on a hill, excellent. What else? Precisely, okay. Don't forget, this is not the same thing as desertification. How do we avoid desertification? So how do I make sure that I save nutrients?
Crop rotation.
Crop rotation, correct. What else? Yeah, compost, green manure, what else?
Growing plants that have a lot of nitrogen-fixing bacteria.
Nitrogen fixers, what do you call cover crop? What else? Don't forget, anything that will make more magic mojo, like increasing organic material, using mulch, and by the way, diversifying the farm. Because if you have more more plant ingredients, then you'll get more insect diversity, so you'll get more magic mojo because there's more food web in your soil. You guys are kind of ready for some of these parts of the test. Exciting. Number 19 gets 2 stars, but I'm not going to discuss with you the different types of pests and pesticides. I got to leave something in the book for the book to handle. So I'll just go under the assumption that you know how to use your book. All right. Number 20. This is, again, a part of number 33. What's integrated pest management? Combination of methods, pest management to manage the bugs. There is one thing that I'd like to readjust in your understanding of insects on the farm. At this time, there is one simple concept. Integrated pest management is basically keeping the bad 5% of bugs from ruining the farm. The reason I said bad 5% is because about 90 to 95% of all the insects you'll ever find on a farm are either neutral or beneficial, but they're not bad. Most insects help the farm, either by helping the plants or by eating the bad insects. If this is all the insects on a farm, the only bad ones are a little tiny wedge, about 5%, 6%, 8%, some parts of the world, whatever. Less than 10. So all you got to do is keep those 10% from ruckusing your farm. And the more other things you've got, the better you'll do. So integrated pest management, you can diversify the farm. That helps you bring in more other insects, the good ones. You can rotate crops so the bugs don't get a head start by eating the same thing over and over and over and over and over. You can intentionally add beneficial insects. You can use safer chemicals. I gotta say it, sometimes you can use genetically modified crops that don't have pesticides built in. There may be other problems with that, but at least it's an alternative at this point. You could use insectaries, which are little islands of native habitat, again, to encourage the good bugs. Here are 2 things you haven't heard before. Airflow. If air circulates, the good bugs can find the bad bugs more easily. You're taking away the hiding places from the bad bugs. But airflow. Spacing a little bit better. Sometimes, like in a tomato plant, if you cut off those bottom branches that touch the dirt, if you have like a 1 or 2 foot airspace below your yielding parts of the tomato, then that increases airflow, and with more airflow, the good bugs can fly underneath, and then they'll get the bad bugs. And another thing you haven't heard about, there's this concept called companion planting. There are some plants that bugs don't like. So again, about tomatoes, like tomatoes are commonly infested with this thing that lives in the dirt called a tomato nematode. Funny thing is that nematode hates marigold flowers for some reason. So if you plant marigolds with your tomatoes, it keeps the pest away from your tomatoes. Companion planting. Okay. Number 21. Concerns about genetically modified crops. Yesterday we talked about the good parts of genetically modified crops. Now we got to do the bad. The obvious stuff we've had very limited health testing. And I have a little, well, okay. There is fear of unintended or unpredicted allergic reactions. But it's hard to explain how this happens unless you're a biology nerd. Biology nerds, get ready for this because you should know. Biology nerds know that genes do not have singular coding. If you're a biology nerd, you understand that one gene does not just make one protein. Biology nerds know that genes interact with each other. So this gene makes this protein inside of the organism, but this gene put into Daniel with his other genes might have an unusual outcome, an unpredicted outcome. So there is the possibility of unintended health allergic reactions. Sorry.
So it seems like we're messing with something we don't fully understand yet.
I mean, we understand a lot of stuff. We understand enough to make salmon that grows faster and tomatoes that can survive in the snow. But the simple part of my point is, we just can't know all of the possible outcomes of a foreign gene in an existing genotype. Now, I've got another concern that was in the book, but I'm worried that some of you may not understand it. Do you guys understand how seeds work? Like seeds and farming and seeds? For some of you who are not familiar with plant life, watch this simple explanation. It'll become really helpful in a minute. If you've never worked on a farm, this is important. A seed makes a plant. That plant wants to breed, just like all of you. That plant will make flowers. The flowers are putting the plant's reproductive organs into the air. And that flower will exchange pollen with another flower, either using water or wind or a pollinating insect or a pollinating mammal. Pollination is sperm plus egg. That's where the plant has hung. When pollen enters a flower, that is sperm getting very close to the egg. And inside that flower, there's an ovary where the egg and the sperm will meet. And when they meet, they have now created one whole plant's worth of genes, just like sperm and egg makes a baby. Sperm and egg in a flower makes a seed. The seed is the baby. So you go seed to plant, plant makes flower, flower cross-pollinates, and after that pollination, the seeds are found inside the fruit. Usually inside the fruit. Now, when you eat a tomato, you're eating all the seeds that would have made more plants. If Jose's a farmer, Jose will grow the tomato plant, and if I want to grow that tomato next year, I'll save a few tomatoes. I let them rot in a bucket. The rotting hardens the seeds. I skim them off the top of the bucket. I put them into an envelope, and then next year, I've got my seeds to grow tomatoes again. Most farmers buy seeds until they find a variety they like, and once they have their favorite variety, they will grow 4 rows to take to farmer's market, and 1 row they'll leave in the ground to collect seeds from it, so that next year they can grow the same variety again. Everybody understands this? Can I clarify the seed to seed?